تشفيني. والياء ينبوع حب موجه بدمي. والياء ينبوع حب موجه بدمي. للقاع يغرقني عشقا وينجيني. للقاع يغرقني عشقا وينجيني. والنون نقر عصافير بنافذتي. والنون نقر عصافير بنافذتي. تصوغ لون صباحي بالتلاحين. تصوغ لون صباحي بالتلاحين. هذا اسمه هذا اسمه هذا اسمه هذا اسمه حسين 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 حسين.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. In the name of Allah the Merciful, the Compassionate. If one is compelled, if one out of compulsion to something which is haram, it's okay. In the case of usury, if one is out of compulsion to give usury, to pay interest, it is permissible, because otherwise it will be extremely difficult for him. So it is halal for him, but it will be haram for the one who takes their usury. Month of Hajj, the month of Hajj ends from Shawwal until the end of the Hajj. Al-Ashhur al-Ma'lumat, the known months in the Quran, from the first of Shawwal, if one wants to perform Hajj al-Ifrad or Hajj al-Qiran, which is applicable from that day, on the day of Eid al-Fitr, had the miqat, he may do the niyyah for Hajj Ifrad, Hajj Qiran. And he has to stay until day of Arafah. And he can delay the assumption of Ihram until just before Arafah, so that on the day of Arafah he performs the Ihram for Qiran and Ifrad, and then he goes to Arafat. And if he's doing Hajj Tamattu or Umrah Tamattu, from the first of Shawwal he can make the intention for Umrah Tamattu and he assume ihram, and he performs the Umrah Tamattu in Mecca, and he's free from ihram, and he stays in Mecca until the 9th of the Hajj. He resumes the ihram to go to Arafat. This applies to Hajj Tamattu, Hajj Iqran and Ifrad. Iqran and Ifrad, of course, is to do with the people who are living in Mecca. If one performs, in the case of Hajj Iqran and Hajj Ifrad, if it extends to 2 years, it's okay. But in the case of Tamattu, if he performs Umrah Tamattu, he can't go and come back next year to do Hajj Tamattu. He has to do it this year, the same year. So, if after Umrah Tamattu, performing, if he knows that if he leaves Mecca and then he can come back again and perform the Hajj Tamattu, it's okay. Some people say, no, some scholars say that Murtanun Bihajj means he has to stay in Mecca. So imagine that he's done on the 1st of Shawwal, he's performed Hajj Tamattu. So he has all of Shawwal and Al-Qa'dah until 8th. Is it mandatory for him to stay in Mecca? Or if he knows that if he leaves, he can come back? Some scholars have said he can leave. That's my understanding. I'm sure some people have asked and I'm explaining. And of course, some scholars say you're not allowed to leave Mecca. If the child assumes a state of ihram, the same rules apply to them. The rules that apply to the adults apply to the children. If a child, if one cannot do it himself, or if it's harmful for him to do it, or it's very difficult, extremely difficult, then he takes someone to do it on his behalf. Where is this stated? Yeah, some have mentioned this. In Salah, namaz is 3 things. One is that to recite the Quran anywhere. Second, the dhikr or remembrance of Allah, like Subhanallah, Alhamdulillah, Allahu Akbar, La ilaha hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. These are the dhikr Allah. And the other one is dua or supplication. Allahumma, oh Allah, you request something from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the namaz is only these 3 things: recitation of the Quran, dhikr, and dua. There are exceptions like Assalamu alayka ayyuhan nabi, which is addressing someone other than Allah, but we have specific instructions in this respect. Any additions is not permissible. The things that you've read is not a narration. Some scholars have said that, and normally majority don't say this and don't accept it. It's Quran, it's dua, which is supplication. Oh Allah, Allahumma. Anything which becomes dua, whether it's for dunya or akhirah. Yeah, he shouldn't ask for something which is haram. If he says so, some say his namaz will be batal. In namaz, make such a request is haram. If it's not haram, if that the thing he's asking for, something whether wajib or mustahab, and he's addressing Allah, this becomes dua and it's no problem. And the thing you're saying, not all scholars accept that. The narration is correct, and Sheikh Saduq has said he's used this absolute nature thing. Is that it's not necessary to do it in Arabic. But Takbirat Allahu Akbar, Takbirat al-Ihram, like Allahu Akbar, should be in Arabic. The things which are not wajib, like Qunut, if one doesn't know Arabic, can one do it in other languages, whether it's Farsi or other languages? Sheikh Saduq said, and some scholars have accepted, and I too accept it. There's no objection to that, in other than Arabic, to say it in the Qunut. And some scholars even don't accept that. They said all namaz should be in Arabic. If he doesn't know how to say dua in Arabic, he shouldn't do dua in namaz. The riwayah says everything is absolute and unqualified unless there is some prohibition which is applied to it. Or another narration is that everything is unqualified unless there is some instructions in it about it. Yes. Yes, dhikr Ali and ibadah. There is no doubt about that. Only that. In here, when you say dhikr, is dhikrullah, dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Apparently the understanding and the thing that which generally accepted amongst the scholars is namaz is specific. For example, sujood or ruku for other than Allah is not permissible, even outside namaz. In the dua after namaz ziyarat Imam Hussein, after ziyarat Imam Hussein, in the namaz that we say after namaz, dhikrullah means subhanallah alhamdulillah wa la ilaha illallah, so things like this. The name Ali is taken from the name of Allah, Al-Ali. Ali. if he says Ya Ali in namaz, this Ya, he's addressing someone. If he's addressing Allah, there's no problem. Unanimously among all scholars. If he means other than Allah, in other than namaz, it's a merit. But in namaz, inside, it's questionable. The majority of scholars consider it questionable and don't accept it. And the Quran says in Ayatul Kursi, وَهُوَ الْعَلِيُّ الْعَظِيمُ. He is Al-Ali Al-Azim.
مسئله درک موقفه این 9 تا مسئله است. من تفصیلش یعنی 1 و 2 و 3 تا 9 را جامع مناسک الحج و العمره آوردم.
There are 9 cases. And I've mentioned it in Manasik al-Hajj. Whether it's out of compulsion, whether out of choice or out of compulsion, either mash'ar, al-wuquf, arafat or mash'ar. If one deliberately does that, misses it, his hajj is batil. His hajj is not correct. Even if one doesn't meet the istarari, the compulsion of hajj and arafat and mash'ar, his hajj is not right. But if he dies in the process, if he assumes ihram, he enters the haram, he hasn't done anything, and he dies, then his hajj is correct. Even if he was doing it on behalf of someone else, he has met the condition. The one who was doing it on behalf of is accepted. And we have a specific instruction in this respect. Anything which is true and acceptable, they may use as a condition in marriage contract. And anything which is for example, if it's a ruling, like they make a condition that if one party dies, the other doesn't inherit, you can't have that, because there is a ruling decree from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this respect. There is hukm, and you can't negate that through a condition, through a precondition in marriage. If before ihram it's not hajj, and there is narration, that if he assumes ihram and he hasn't even entered the haram and dies, even his hajj is correct. But most scholars don't accept that, or some scholars don't accept that. In permanent contract, marriage contract, living expenses is haq. Shouldn't the precondition shouldn't be that, shouldn't waive or negate a ruling or hukm. But if, for example, they want to have a precondition that she doesn't accept receive living expenses, it's because it's one's right and they forgo that, that's permissible. And Tawaf al-Nisa is wajib for both men and women. Tawaf al-Nisa is in Hajj is wajib, and Umrah Mufrada is also wajib. But Umrah Tamattu doesn't have Tawaf al-Nisa. In some, we have some narration. Some things maybe, like in Nawafil, one may bring forward something, but from the collection of riwayat and the decrees of Maraja, one can bring something forward or back. So, if one between bringing forward or backward for namaz al-shab, night prayer, they can say it before midnight, but or they can say it after as a qada afterwards. It is better to say it qada afterwards. There are numerous details such as in the case of mustahabbat, we have some degree of freedom. If he's made a vow, nadr, then it's not mustahab, it's wajib. If one has made a nazr, then they have to act on it. Yeah. The narrations have a degree of absoluteness, so there's no objection to that. There's a narration narrated by Sheikh Tusi in the book of Misbah. After the second shahada, in tashahhud, he says, وَإِنَّ عَلِيًّا نِعْمَ الْوَلِيُّ. And do not utter or mention the word, say the word ashhadu. If he does, وَإِنَّ عَلِيًّا نِعْمَ الْوَلِيُّ, without the word ashhadu. If he knows, he shouldn't say it. But But if he didn't know at past, then he used to say it in the past, then fine. Even the juries can't do that. This is the right of others. Not only in killing, any right, when it comes to rights, that the owner of the right should accept it. He should be content. So he should pay him. He should seek forgiveness. He should pay him as much as he can until he forgoes. But it doesn't mean that there is no doubt that he has to make that payment. There's no doubt that he has to do that. The heirs are 6 levels. The first level is parents and children, grandchildren. The third one is uncles and aunts and their descendants. The fourth level is the one who is guarantor, or if none of these 5, the 6th level, it will be Imam's share. Or so you give it to the Marja' Taqleed, Jami' al-Sharat, or to the one who has given permission to. Because Imam becomes waris, it becomes the heir, or is the heir at the 6th level. My late brother, in his book Ad-Du'a wa Ziyara, he's narrated that Amir al-Mu'minin alayhi salam had 3 daughters. One of them is other than Fatima Zahra. They are Kulthum, and her name was Zainab. And Zainab Kubra, that is the daughter of Imam Hussein alayhi salam in Damascus. Zainab Wusta is her tomb in Misr, in Egypt, and Zainab al-Sughra, other than from in Medina. When Imam Hussein was in Medina, she passed away. She's buried in Medina. So he's mentioned this in this order, and he's narrating it, quoting others. Sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
خلقي أشبه أنت الولي الذي مناقبه مولاي ما ليعلاها في الخلق أشباه. يا آية الله في العباد ويا سر الذي لا إله إلا هو، سر الذي لا إله إلا هو.
تناقض العالمون فيك وقد
مولاي
تناقض العالمون فيك وقد
مولاي
حاروا عن